This experience is urgent. It may not remain available for long, which is why we are sharing it now without delay. Please do not take this lightly. Treat it with the seriousness it deserves. Take note of the dates and the information revealed here. Let us know where you are watching from so we can continue to pray with you, as we have always done. I will now begin sharing today's experience. I need to tell you something. I need to tell you this because I do not know how long I have before they come, before they stop me. I am a military man. I have been in the United States Army for 22 years. I have served my country. I have followed my orders. I have believed in what I was told to believe. But I died on February 19th, 2026. I died and I came back. And what I saw, what was shown to me, it changes everything. My name is Marcus Wells. I am a lieutenant colonel in the United States military. I was a healthy man. No heart problems in my family. My father lived to 84. My mother is still alive at 81. No one in my bloodline died from a heart attack. I run 5 miles every morning. I do push-ups. I do sit-ups. I eat clean food. I take my vitamins. I am not a heavy man. I am 175 pounds at 6 feet tall. I have no risk factors. None. But that morning, everything changed. It was 5:47 in the morning. I remember because I looked at my watch before I started my run. The sun was just coming up. It was a cold morning in February. I was at Fort Bragg doing my routine run around the base. The path I always take. The same path for the last 3 years. I have run this path maybe 700 times. I know every corner, every tree, every place where the ground is uneven. I was on mile 4 when it happened. My chest felt tight. I thought maybe I ran too fast. Maybe I did not eat enough for breakfast. I had only eaten a banana and some coffee. I told myself to slow down, to breathe. But it got worse. The tightness became pain. Sharp pain, the kind of pain that makes you stop thinking about anything else. That makes you stop thinking at all. I could not breathe well. My left arm started to hurt. My jaw felt strange. I knew in that moment what was happening. But I could not believe it. I am a military man. I do not get sick. I do not have heart attacks. I do not die at 53 years old on a running path. But my body did not care what I believed. I tried to keep running. I thought if I keep moving, maybe it will pass. Maybe it is just a cramp. Maybe it is just something I ate. I was stubborn. That is something about me. I have always been stubborn. My wife tells me this. She says, Marcus, you are too stubborn for your own good. And she is right. That morning, my stubbornness was the last thing I did as a living man. I felt my legs stop listening to me. My vision became blurry. The world tilted. I remember falling. I remember my body hitting the cold pavement. I remember the shock of it, the pain. And then, nothing. Complete nothing. But that nothing did not last long. It was not like sleeping. It was not like passing out. It was different. It was like my consciousness was separating from something. Like I was being pulled away from my body. And I did not understand what was happening. Then I could see again. But I was not seeing with my eyes. Do you understand what I am saying? I was looking down. I was above my body. I was floating above the path where I had fallen. My body was on the cold ground. The sun was still coming up. The sky was still gray and orange. Everything looked the same. The world looked the same. But I was not in it anymore. There was a man standing over my body. A young soldier. I had seen him around the base. I did not know his name. But he was there. He was kneeling next to my body. He was checking my pulse. His face was very frightened. I could see the fear in his eyes. He did not know what to do. Then he started running. He was running toward the barracks. He was running to get help. I wanted to tell him to call 911. I wanted to tell him to get a doctor. but I could not speak. I could not touch him. I was just floating there, just watching. I looked at my body on the ground. I looked at my face. It was very pale, very white. My lips had no color. My eyes were open, but they were not seeing anything. This body on the ground, this was me. This was what I had been living in for 53 years. And it was empty now. It was just meat, just a shell. And I was not in it anymore. I did not feel sad about this. I expected to feel sad. I expected to feel afraid. But I felt nothing like that. I felt peaceful. I felt like something heavy had been taken off my shoulders. I felt like I could breathe for the first time in my life, and I was confused because my body was not breathing. But I was breathing. I was breathing without lungs. I was thinking without a brain. I was seeing without eyes. Other soldiers started coming. They came with a stretcher. They came with a defibrillator. They were yelling at each other, saying, "Get the AED," saying, "Call an ambulance," saying, "We need to start CPR now." They were moving very fast, very urgent. But I was calm. I was watching it like it was a movie, like it was not really happening to me. One of the soldiers was putting his hands on my chest. He was pushing hard. I could see my body bounce with each push. 1, 2, 3. He was counting 30 compressions. Then he was giving rescue breaths. He was blowing air into my mouth, the dead mouth of my dead body. I was thinking, this is very strange. This man is trying to save my life. But I am right here. I am not in that body. I am up here. I am fine. I am better than I have ever been, but he does not know this. He thinks I am dying. He thinks he needs to save me. And maybe he is right. Maybe this is the beginning of what I need to be saved from. The ambulance came, fast, very fast. The sirens were loud. I could hear the sirens even though I had no ears. The paramedics came out. They were professionals. They knew what they were doing. They took over from the soldier. They connected me to the defibrillator. They put patches on my chest, my dead chest. Charging, they said. Clear. And then my body jumped. My whole body jumped like someone had hit it with lightning. But I did not feel it. I was not in my body. I was just watching my body jump. No pulse, they said. They kept doing CPR. They kept pushing on my chest. Over and over. They put a tube in my throat. They were doing everything they could. Everything they had learned. Everything they had trained for. But I was leaving. I could feel myself leaving. It was like I was floating up, floating away from the path, away from my body, away from the ambulance, away from the people trying to save me. The light started changing. The gray morning light started becoming something else, something more, something brighter. I could see colors I had never seen before, colors that do not have names, colors that are between colors. The light was getting stronger, getting closer, getting warmer. And I was not afraid anymore. I was not afraid at all. I was curious. I was wondering. I was feeling like something very important was about to happen. The light was all around me now. It was filling everything. The light was golden, but it was also white. It was bright, but it did not hurt my eyes. It was warm, but it was not hot. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever experienced. And then I saw him. This is when I should tell you something. There is a lot happening behind the scenes. There's a lot that happens in the world that nobody knows about. Most people walk through their lives and they do not see these things. They do not understand how deep it goes, how far it reaches. What I am about to tell you, it is one of those things. This is something that very few people have seen. Very few people have been allowed to know. But I was shown. I was taken to a place and I was shown. The doctors told me later that I was dead for 9 minutes. 9 minutes. No heartbeat. no brain activity. They told me that when they shocked me the third time, my heart came back. Just like that. Just came back. But where was I during those 9 minutes? Where was my mind? Where was my consciousness? I was somewhere else. I began to feel a peace like nothing I have ever felt before. All the pain was gone. All the fear was gone. There was just light, soft light, warm light, golden light, and I felt like I could breathe again, like my lungs were finally full, like I had been holding my breath my whole life, and now I could finally let it go. Then I saw a figure walking toward me. I could not see the face at first. The light was too bright around him. But I knew. Somehow, I knew who it was. There are some things you know without anyone telling you. You just know. This was like that. The figure came closer, and then I could see the face, the eyes, the expression. It was Jesus. I am not a very religious man. I was raised Christian. I went to church as a child, but I had not been to church in many years. I had been busy with the military, busy with my career, busy with being important, busy with all the things that do not matter. I was not prepared to see this. I did not believe I was pure enough, good enough, worthy enough to see the face of God's Son. But there he was, and he was walking toward me. His clothes were bright white, brighter than anything I have ever seen. But it did not hurt my eyes. Nothing hurt any more. I felt only peace, only love, only the feeling of being known, completely known. All my failures, all my secrets, all the things I had done wrong and the things I had failed to do right. He knew all of it, and he loved me anyway. He did not speak to me with words, not the way people speak, but he communicated with me. He showed me things. He revealed to me what was going to happen. What is happening? What has been happening while we sleep and work and raise our children and pay our taxes? He showed me a building, a very large building. It was made of stone, and it looked very old, but it also looked very important, like a place where real power lives. He took me toward this building. As we approached it, the doors opened, and we walked inside. The inside was not what I expected. It was like a palace, a very rich palace. Everything was gold. The walls were gold. The furniture was gold. The lights were gold. Everything was shining, and I understood something. This was not about God's gold. This was about money. This was about human gold. This was about wealth. And in this room there were people, many people. They were sitting around a very long table. The table was also made of gold. They were dressed in fine clothes, better clothes than I have ever seen, better clothes than most people in the world have ever seen. They looked important. They looked powerful. They looked like they owned the world. Maybe they did. Maybe they do. Each of them was holding a piece of paper, a file, something with writing on it. And Jesus pointed to these files. He showed me that each file had a word written on it. The word was agenda. These people were holding their agendas, their plans, their instructions for what they were going to do to the world. I tried to look closer. I tried to read what was written on the files. But the writing, I could not read it. It was like the letters were moving, like they were written in a language I did not understand, like they were hidden from me. Even in that place, even while I was watching, I could not see the full details of what they were planning. Jesus made a gesture with his hand. A gesture like, "Come here, come closer." I walked toward him. As I got closer to him, a strange thing happened. It was like a door opened. Not a regular door. A portal. A window into something else. And through that portal, Jesus began to show me what these people do, what they have been doing, what they plan to do. He revealed to me how these people control the governments of the world. It is not done with force. It is not done by taking over. It is done very quietly, very carefully. very systematically. I was shown 3 ways they do this. The first way is by choosing the leaders. This is not new. This is not something that just started. This has been happening for many years. These people have people. They have people in important positions, people who can influence who becomes president, who becomes prime minister, who becomes the leader of countries. They do this through many channels. They do this through money. They give money to the politicians who will do what they want. They give money to organizations that support certain candidates. They give money to news organizations that will say good things about the people they want in power. But sometimes the people they want do not win. So they have another way. They control the advisors, the secretaries, the people who sit next to the leader and whisper in their ear, the person who advises on foreign policy, the person who advises on money policy, the person who advises on war. These advisors are chosen. These advisors are controlled. So even if the leader is not one of their people, the advice that reaches the leader will be their advice. The directions will be their directions. The leader becomes like a person reading from a script. The leader thinks he is in charge, but he is just saying the words they wrote. Jesus showed me examples, so many examples. He showed me leaders who were brought to power because they could be controlled, leaders who were weak, leaders who could be manipulated, leaders who wanted things. Power, money, women, fame. And these powerful people used these wants against the leaders. They said, do what we want, and you will have what you want. And the leaders agreed, and the countries suffered. I was shown how this affects populations. When a leader is not really in charge, when a leader is following instructions from somewhere else, the laws change, the taxes change, the opportunities change. Young people cannot find good jobs. Families break apart because economic opportunity is insufficient. Education systems teach what the powerful people want taught. Populations learn to think in the way the powerful people want them to think. And this happens in so many countries, so many places. Corrupt leaders were put in power to serve the powerful people. The resources of countries were taken. Money that should have helped populations went to leaders and their associates. Systems of suffering were created. Populations fled their countries. The second way they control the world is through war and money and policies. These are connected. They are all part of the same system. Jesus showed me wars. I am a military man. I have studied war. I have prepared for war. But what he showed me, I had not understood this. Wars are not always about what we think they are about. Wars are often about money. They are about power. They are about taking resources from one place and moving them to another. He showed me how powerful people cause wars. They do not go to war themselves. They send young men and women who believe they are fighting for their country. But the war was started for different reasons. The war was started because it would make certain people rich. The war would destroy the economy of one country so that another country could take what that country had. The war would destabilize an entire region so that powerful people could go in and build things and take control. Wars are started for profit. Soldiers die for reasons that have nothing to do with protecting their countries. They die because somewhere far away, someone had decided that their death would make more money. The cost is so high, not just in lives, in everything. When a country is at war, the money goes to weapons. The money goes to the military. The money does not go to schools. The money does not go to hospitals. The money does not go to fixing roads. The money does not go to helping people. After the war, countries are broken. Populations are traumatized. Survivors are broken psychologically. Systems of care collapse. And then the powerful people go to the country that lost the war. They offer to help. They offer to rebuild. But the help comes with a price. The price is control. The country has to give up its independence. The country has to follow the rules that these powerful people make. The country's resources become controlled by these powerful people. Countries that lost wars never recovered. The populations remain impoverished. Governments remain controlled. Generations later, populations still suffer. Education systems fail. Healthcare systems fail. Infrastructure crumbles. Powerful people have extracted the resources, the oil, the minerals, the land. War is just one way. Powerful people also crash economies. They do this on purpose. Jesus showed me how they do this. They control the money. They control the banks. They control what things cost. They can make money cheap. They can make money valuable. They can make loans easy to get. They can make loans impossible to get. When they want to crash an economy, they make it so people can borrow a lot of money. Easy money. Banks give money to people who cannot really pay it back. But the banks do not care. The banks want the money up front. The banks want the interest. People are told that they can own homes that are too expensive. But the banks say, do not worry, you can afford this, trust us. And people trusted, because why would the banks lie to them? So people borrowed money, so much money. They bought houses, they bought cars, they bought things. They thought they were getting rich. They thought they were becoming part of the middle class. They thought their lives were getting better. But it was a trap. It was designed to be a trap. And then, after enough people had borrowed too much, after the trap was full, the powerful people changed the rules. They made money more expensive. They raised the interest. They made it harder to borrow. They made it impossible to pay back what people owed. And the trap snapped closed. People could not pay their loans. Banks took their houses. Factories closed because people were not buying things. Stores closed because people had no money. Jobs disappeared. The middle class that had been built over generations disappeared in months. Communities with factories saw the factories close. Communities died. The buildings fell apart. The streets were empty. Populations had to leave. This happened in so many places, not just in one country, all over the world. The powerful people coordinated. They crashed economies in many countries at the same time. They made millions of people poor. They made millions of people desperate. And while populations were suffering, while the middle class was being destroyed, the powerful people were buying. They were buying the houses cheap. They were buying the businesses cheap. They were buying the land cheap, and they were becoming richer. So much richer. And then they offered solutions, they said. The system that you were in, that system does not work. We have a new system, a better system, a system where you will be safe, a system where you will not have to worry. But you have to give us control. You have to let us make decisions for you. And the desperate populations had no choice. They agreed. And the powerful people became more powerful, and the people became more dependent. Countries where the economies had been crashed, where the middle class had been destroyed, where the people had been broken. Brazil, Argentina, countries in Asia, countries in Europe. All of them had been through this. All of them had their economies crashed. All of them had their middle classes destroyed. All of them had their people impoverished. And the powerful people owned these countries now. Not officially, not with armies, but they owned them because they owned the banks, they owned the resources, they owned the future. The third way they control the world is through politics and policy, the way of choosing which leaders will be in power and making sure that all of them serve the same interests. Powerful people held meetings about elections. Which political parties would they support? Which candidates would they support? Which policies would they push? They had people in both parties, in every country, in every political system. They had people. People who were chosen, people who were trained, people who could be controlled. So it did not matter which party won, because both parties had their people. Both parties would serve the interests of the powerful people. Some candidates knew. Some of them knew that they were being controlled, that they were reading from a script. But they wanted the power. They wanted the position. So they agreed. They agreed to be the face, the puppet, the person who would say the words that the powerful people wanted said, and other candidates. They truly believed that they were running for real, that they had real ideas, that they would make real change. But they had no idea. They had no idea that they were surrounded by advisors who were controlled, that the advice they received was chosen, that their own team was working for the powerful people, not for them. Populations voted because they believed their vote mattered. populations voted because they thought things would change. But things never changed. Not really. The same policies continued, the same direction continued, no matter who won, and populations became hopeless. Populations stopped voting, populations stopped caring, populations stopped trying to improve their lives or their countries. Because what was the point? What was the point if nothing ever changed? And when populations stopped hoping, when populations stopped trying, the powerful people controlled them more easily. Hopeless populations do not rebel. Hopeless populations accept what they are told. Leaders were chosen because they were selfish, because they were corrupt, because they could be manipulated. Leaders who were made dependent through addictions. Leaders who were given enemies to destroy while resources were being extracted. The corruption of leaders affected everything. Schools had no money. Hospitals had no money. Infrastructure fell apart. Young populations had no futures. And then Jesus showed me the fourth way. The organizations. The organizations that sound good but do harm. The organizations that are used to control what people think, what people believe, what people do. He showed me foundations, charities, NGOs, educational institutions, media organizations. All of them had connections to the powerful people. All of them were used to push certain ideas, to hide certain truths, to control the narrative. He showed me how money flows through these organizations, how it is used to influence, how it is used to control. He showed me schools where children were taught certain things, things that made them compliant, things that made them not question, things that made them accept what they were told. He showed me media organizations where news was not news, where stories were chosen to influence people, where stories that were true were hidden, where stories that were false were promoted. He showed me charities that sounded like they were helping, but the money from these charities never reached those they claimed to help. The money went to administrators, to executives, to people who were part of the system. He showed me movements that were started to change things, to help people. But the movements were infiltrated. They were taken over. They were directed toward goals that actually hurt the people they were supposed to help. And I understood something very deep. The control was not just political. The control was total. The control was through every institution, through every organization, through every way that information flows, through every way that people think. The control was like a web that was everywhere, a web that was invisible, a web that had been built over many years by many people, all working together. The people living in this web. Most of them did not know. They thought they were free. They thought they were making choices. They thought they were in control of their own lives. But they were not. They were in the web, and the web was pulling, always pulling them in the direction that the powerful people wanted. Jesus showed me all of this. He showed me the connections. He showed me how it all fit together, how war connects to economy, how economy connects to politics, how politics connects to organizations, how organizations shape what people think. It was all one system, one big system, designed to serve the powerful people, designed to keep everyone else in a state of controlled chaos, a state where they were too busy surviving to rebel, too confused to see the truth, too hopeless to try to change things. And then Jesus showed me something that broke my heart. He showed me what happens to people who try to stop this. He showed me activists who were killed. He showed me journalists who were silenced. He showed me scientists who were discredited. He showed me people who knew the truth and tried to tell other people and lost everything. Journalists who found out the truth and tried to expose it were silenced. Before they could publish stories, before anyone could hear what they knew, they were stopped. Scientists who discovered something that would have changed everything were discredited. The research was attacked. The colleagues abandoned them. They lost their jobs. They lost their positions. They lost their credibility. And the world never knew what they had discovered. Religious leaders who saw exploitation and manipulation in their communities and tried to speak out were removed. They were fired. They were replaced with leaders who would teach what the powerful people wanted taught. Activists who were trying to organize populations, trying to get people to see the truth, trying to get people to resist, were threatened. Families were threatened, and they had to stop. They had to be silent. They had to accept the system. Fear prevented people from speaking. The fear of being discovered. The fear of losing everything. The fear of dying. But despite all of this, despite the fear, despite the cross, despite the cost, there were still people who spoke. There were still people who tried. There were still people who resisted. Ordinary people figured out the truth. People were telling other people. People were creating communities. Communities that were trying to live outside the system. Communities that were trying to take care of each other. Communities that were trying to preserve what was real. The network of people all over the world connected to each other, not through organizations, not through governments, but through truth, through a shared understanding of what was really happening, through a commitment to each other. These people were not powerful. They did not have armies. They did not have governments. But they had something else. They had truth. They had love. They had hope. They had hope. And Jesus told me something very important. He communicated to me that this network was growing, that more and more people were waking up, that people all over the world were seeing the truth, that people were choosing to resist, that people were choosing to live differently. But he also told me something else, something very serious. He told me that the time was short, that the powerful people were accelerating their plans, that soon, very soon, the control would tighten so much that resistance would become impossible, that soon the window for spreading the truth would close. And he told me that I was being given a choice. I was being given a choice to be part of the network, to help spread the truth, to help people wake up. But that choice would come with a cost. That cost would be everything. Everything I had worked for. Everything I had built. Everything I held dear. He showed me that I would be rejected, that people would not believe me, that people would think I was crazy, that the government might come for me, that I might lose my family, that I might lose my life. But he also showed me something. He showed me that my life meant something, that my voice mattered, that my testimony could help people wake up, that my willingness to sacrifice could inspire others to sacrifice, that my truth could help people find their own truth. And I understood the choice I had to make. Jesus released my hand. The portal began to close. The images faded. The golden building faded. The light was changing again. And I felt myself being pulled back, pulled away, pulled down. The light was fading. The warmth was fading. The peace was fading. I was being pulled back to my body. I woke up. I woke up in the hospital. There were machines all around me, machines that were beeping, machines that were showing my heartbeat. My heartbeat. My heart was beating again. There was a tube in my throat. I could not breathe naturally. The tube was breathing for me. It was uncomfortable. It was choking me. But I was alive. There was a nurse standing next to my bed. She saw my eyes open. She saw that I was awake. She looked surprised. She said something to someone else. She said, "He is waking up." She said, "Get the doctor." My wife came running. She came into the room. She looked at me and she started crying. She was crying so hard. She took my hand. She said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you," over and over, "Thank you." The doctor came. The doctor examined me. The doctor examined me. The doctor was amazed. The doctor said that I should not be here, that I should have brain damage, that I should be dead. But I was not. I was awake. I was conscious. I was alive. They removed the tube from my throat. It hurt. It hurt my throat. It hurt my chest. But I could breathe. I could speak. The first thing I said was, "I have something to tell you." I said it to my wife. I said it to the doctor. I said it to the nurses. I have something to tell you. Something that you need to hear. Something that the world needs to hear. I told them. I told them what I had seen. I told them about the building with the gold. I told them about the people holding the agendas. I told them about the portal. I told them about what Jesus had shown me. My wife listened. She believed me. I could see it in her eyes. She believed me. She did not understand everything, but she believed me. The doctor listened. The doctor did not believe me. The doctor said that sometimes when the brain is deprived of oxygen, it creates hallucinations. The doctor said it was common. The doctor said it did not mean anything. But I knew. I knew that what I had seen was real. I knew that it was not a hallucination. I knew that Jesus had shown me the truth. I have been telling people this story for weeks now. I have been telling people what I saw. I have been trying to help people wake up. Some people believe me. Some people think I am crazy. Some people have warned me that if I keep talking, bad things might happen to me. But I do not care anymore. I do not care if people think I am crazy. I do not care if I lose my job or my reputation or my freedom. What I saw is real. What Jesus showed me is real. And people need to know. The system is real. The organizations are real. The control is real. The suffering is real. The destruction of the middle class is real. The wars started for money are real. The economies crashed on purpose are real. The leaders who are puppets are real. The organizations that pretend to help but actually control are real. And people can see it if they look. People can see it if they look. People can see it in the news that is hidden. People can see it in the wars that do not make sense. People can see it in the leaders who are chosen for them. People can see it in the policies that make no sense. People can see it in the organizations that sound good but do harm. People can see it in the way their lives are getting harder while the rich get richer. People can see it in the way their futures are disappearing. I am telling you this because you need to know. You need to know that you are not crazy when you feel that something is wrong. You need to know that your instincts are correct. You need to know that the world is being controlled by people who do not have your best interest in mind. You need to wake up. You need to stop trusting blindly. You need to start asking questions. You need to start looking for truth. You need to start talking to other people about what you see. You need to find the network of people who know, the network of people who are resisting, and you need to do it soon. Because the control is tightening. The system is getting stronger. The window for spreading the truth is closing. Soon it will be too late. I do not know how long I have before they silence me. I do not know how long this testimony will be allowed to exist. I do not know if they will come for me. I do not know if I will be discredited. I do not know if I will disappear. But I had to tell you. I had to tell you what I saw. I had to tell you what Jesus revealed to me when I died on February 19th, 2026. I died. I was dead for 9 minutes. And in those 9 minutes, I saw the truth. I saw how the world really works. I saw who really runs the world. I saw what they are doing. I saw what is coming. And now I am telling you. And it is real. I have no reason to lie to you. I have nothing to gain from lying to you. In fact, I have everything to lose. My job, my freedom, my life. But I am telling you anyway, because the truth is more important than any of those things. Listen to me. Please listen to me. Wake up. Please wake up. See what is happening. Please see. The time is running out. The window is closing. Soon it will be too late. Wake up. Please, wake up.